In the past, I've been all over and had some amazing adventures in Mexico, but this vlog is going to go the opposite direction. I thought it'd be neat to bring you along with me and show you what an ordinary day is like in my wife's central Mexican city and just how different it is from living elsewhere. So every so often, I spend a few weeks living in the city that my wife is from in Mexico. And I thought it'd be a good idea to take all of you along through a day in the life of living in Mexico. It's very different from what I'm used to. First thing to point out, while I wake up and it's sunny now, it's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. At night, it can get incredibly cold because we're living in the desert. Temperatures drop to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit and about 4 degrees Celsius. Every morning, I'm reminded of how different life is in Mexico. When I brush my teeth, I have to absolutely spit out the water. You cannot drink the tap water. If you do, you're going to get sick, you're going to get diarrhea. So all the time, we're purchasing bottled water. And I've never lived in a place where you had to do that so frequently, but that's just how it is there. Their water standards aren't up to other countries. Another big difference is the showering system. The gas is used to heat the water, but the gas can run out sometimes. They don't have gas piped directly into the houses. So if you are taking a shower, you can absolutely run out of hot water and you have to make a phone call to somebody to bring you a bottle of gas or refill your bottle of gas so that you can then have hot water. And it's just very different from, again, where I've lived in the past. Moving on to breakfast, one of my wife's family's favorite breakfast items is gorditas. They'll go out in the morning to their favorite gordita place and they'll bring back a bunch. If you don't know what a gordita is, it's basically like a mini pancake of corn or flour, and they'll fill it with various items, usually meat, cheese, things like that, and it's delicious. Also, a lot of fruit we'll eat. The fruit in Mexico is far better than a lot of the fruit that I get in the United States. There's a lot more exotic fruit. Here you're seeing me eat papaya, and it's not that we don't have that in the United States, but personally, I think the papaya and the pineapple and a lot of other fruits in Mexico are far better than the US because you have to transport them all the way up here, and by that time, they're not as good. There are various modes of transportation to get around the city, but we mainly drove because there are buses, they're cheap, but it is as stereotypical as it's shown in the movies. They're very packed, they're very flooded with people, and it's just not that fast. So we usually drive to wherever we need to go. The only drawback there, in my opinion, is when you need to stop and refuel, all the gas stations are full service, and I can't stand full service gas stations. To me, it's far too slow. I'll also say that driving the roads in Mexico, and this is dependent on the city you're in, but the roads can be very unorganized, and it's really hard to figure out where turn lanes are and where one-way streets are and which way you need to go unless you're a local, and so it's very unorganized at times. I took a picture of this quick. We're passing a butcher shop. In this particular city, meat is one of the things that they do best. So unlike other cities in Mexico, you're probably going to see more meat stores and more butcher shops per area than anywhere else. We decided to go to Sam's Club to pick up some items that we needed for Christmas dinner. So we're shopping throughout Sam's Club, and my mother-in-law asked me to find some cream, and you are going to see that I went on a great adventure to try and find this unsuccessfully. I found anything and everything with the name cream in Spanish on it, and none of it was correct. I don't think they had the cream that we needed. But if you ever want to learn a foreign language really well, go to a supermarket and it forces you to learn words in a different language very, very fast. Unfortunately, Sam's Club did not have everything we needed, so we had to go to a local supermarket. And as I'm walking through this local supermarket, I definitely passed a man who was sitting there with an iguana just sitting on his hat in the middle of the supermarket. And at first I thought it was fake, but no, it was a real iguana. Guy was just letting the iguana hang out while he shopped. I had to sit on my wife's lap and lean into the back seat to take some of the weight off her because the trunk was filled with items that my mother-in-law was going to donate, and we entirely filled the back seat with groceries. So here I'm leaning into the back seat just to take the weight off of my wife while I'm sitting in her lap, and we were just driving across the street back to the house to unload things. One thing I really like to do any country I visit is I try and purchase some candy and just see how it's different. In the case of Mexico, I was able to find these malted milk balls, but they weren't like any I'd ever seen because they had different flavors on the inside: strawberry, lime, and pineapple. So I figured I'd give them a shot, and here's me just trying them. Now at this point in the day, we had still not finished our Christmas shopping, and Christmas was one day away. So we asked her father to drive us to the mall, which is a crazy thing to do day before Christmas, but we needed to go. We had just flown in on a flight, and we needed to see what we could possibly buy for some presents. And we just had fun. We walked around, and we were able to get the presents we needed, and they had this interesting little remote control race car track set up in the mall, unlike anything I've ever seen. So I decided to let Christina and her dad go for a race, and I filmed it. There is a store at the mall that offers 2-for-1 pastry after 8:30 in the evening. We purchased those pastries and we went back home and we had some hot chocolate. So here we're just finishing the night by eating some delicious pastries and drinking hot chocolate, and that was a really good way to end the day. So there you have it, an ordinary day when I'm living in Mexico.